honored that my first assistant would speak those stirring words about me. I'm honored that somebody that has spent most of the last, I believe, 25 years of his life here in Plymouth County would agree to introduce me today. Somebody who was one of the top prosecutors for the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office and the head of the Child and Family Protection Unit at the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office. So thank you very much, Bill McCauley. I am here today to announce my candidacy for the new 9th Congressional District of Massachusetts. When the Massachusetts legislature completed the redrawing of political boundaries last year, it did something extraordinary that I believe has not gotten the attention it deserves. It created a whole new district along our southern coastline, stretching from Fall River to Provincetown. And what made this extraordinary is that it created this district without an incumbent, without a congressman living within the district. So we have this extraordinary opportunity in 2012 to define what's important to us in the 9th Congressional District and then elect the person who best exemplifies those attributes and who will not have to reinvent himself to fit into this district. I am running for 4 main reasons. First, and most importantly, because I am positive I can be a more effective congressman for the people of the 9th Congressional District because of my record of effectiveness as the Bristol County District Attorney. Number 2, I am running because of my fervent belief that change is needed in the atmosphere and the approach in Congress, and the confidence I have that I can bring some change to that esteemed body. Number 3, I am running because I disagree with my opponent's positions on a myriad of issues, which will become more articulated as the campaign goes on. And I am running number 4 because of my deep ties to this region over the past 35 years. I am not a career politician. In 2006, at the age of 53, I was a working attorney with a law practice based in Fall River, handling cases throughout this region. But I saw New Bedford and Fall River and Taunton plagued by gun violence, burgeoning gang activity, unsolved homicides, destructive major drug dealing, far too many unsolved homicides and shootings. At that time, I had never run for political office before. I had very little name recognition in the county, very little campaign financing, and a political organization that consisted of my best friend Lou Pacheco and 4 college students. But what I did have was an extremely well thought out and deeply held set of beliefs on how to improve the performance at the district attorney's office, and with it, public safety throughout Bristol County. The main platform I ran on at that time was change, with new ideas, new policies, and the approach I promised to take as district attorney was aggressively proactive. During the campaign, I published position papers about gun violence, major drug dealers, unsolved homicides, and better protection of our children and seniors. I also said I would scale back on the positions in the Community Outreach Division because I wanted to add more prosecutors to the courtroom with the savings that I would make out of scaling back. And I said I would do that without losing anything in our community outreach program because we would make up for it with volunteerism. I also said that I would work closely in collaboration with all the law enforcement agencies of Bristol County to attack crime. And I said I would run an open and transparent office, that I would answer any question from any member of the media whenever asked. I stand here some 6 years later, and I can say to all of you, I have delivered on every single one of those promises. And what are the results? Just ask the people that are here from Bristol County. Gun violence has been dramatically reduced. Gang activity has been weakened due to several joint law enforcement sweeps. Major drug dealers have been targeted, investigated, arrested, and convicted. The homicide solve rate thanks in no small part to Bill McCauley, has improved from 55% to 75%. And once again, thanks to his exemplary and talented leadership, we've brought charges in 10 cold cases and obtained convictions in every single one of those that have gone to trial, with one exception. And with respect to what I did in community outreach, volunteers from my office have contributed more than 12,000 hours to the communities of Bristol County. Effectiveness in finding solutions to the problem facing the region and the nation, and the ability to turn those solutions into results, is exactly what's needed at this time in Congress. Congress, on so many of the critical and pressing issues, is at a standstill. Critical and pressing issues like the $15 trillion national debt, millions of Americans, over 12 million, still unemployed, the need to develop better and cleaner and more efficient sources of energy, the exaggerated concentration of wealth that has taken place over the last 30 years, and our inability to figure out what to do about 10 to 20 million immigrants living in this country unlawfully. In my opinion, the problems we're facing now are as crucial as any that we've faced since the late 1960s. And in the midst of all of this, Congress faces constant gridlock. I've heard the sitting Congressman, Mr. Keating, speak on 5 recent occasions at Democratic caucuses: in New Bedford, in Dartmouth, last week in Wareham, in Orleans, Saturday in Hanson. Not one time did I hear him offer any solution to any of the critical problems I just mentioned. I did hear him say that he's hoping for a Democratic majority in Congress after this election, with the implication that that will be the solution that's needed. Now, I'm a stalwart Democrat, so I'm hoping for a Democratic majority in January just as much as Mr. Keating. But crossing your fingers and hoping for a Democratic majority is not the solution. The solution is figuring out a way to solve the problems, create partnerships, and get results, and that's what I intend to do if I'm elected to this seat. In addition to my belief that change is needed in Congress and that I can bring about more change and be a more effective congressman, what made me want to run in this race is that the new 9th Congressional District encompasses an area where I have lived and worked my entire adult life. I moved to Cape Cod in 1977, 1 year after I graduated from college. For most of the next 11 years, I lived and worked on Cape Cod. In 1988, I moved to Bristol County, where I've lived and worked for the past 24 years. My work as a prosecutor began when I was a student intern at the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office in 1982. And my continuing work as a prosecutor and my private law practice took me to courthouses throughout this district: Orleans, to Barnstable, to Falmouth, to Wareham, here in Plymouth, to New Bedford, and Fall River. I care deeply about this region because it is where I've lived and worked my entire adult life, and it is where I am raising my family. Where's my wife? And please remember this about the new district. 40% is just that, brand new. That's over 250,000 people, approximately 300,000 people. Those people in the towns of Wareham, Marion, Mattapoisett, Rochester, Middleborough, Halifax, Acushnet, Fairhaven, Westport, Dartmouth, and the cities of New Bedford and Fall River, they have not voted for a new congressman. They have not voted for me for Congress, nor have they voted for Mr. Keating for Congress. They deserve a choice. And the people in the remainder of the district, the 60%, they've been represented by Congressman Keating for only 14 months. They also deserve a choice about which one of us can be more effective, can bring about more change, and has deeper ties to the region, and which one of us they agree with more about the issues. The absolute best way for this campaign for the Democratic nomination for Congress to be decided is through a continuing series of debates throughout the region. If you remember nothing else of what I say, I ask you to remember this. Debates over the storied course of our country's democracy have proven to be the healthy lifeblood of the democracy. And more than ever, they are the answer to the exaggerated influence of money in politics. Debates are the essence of what is democratic. They can be attended by anyone who can get to the site of the debate. For those who can't make it, they can be watched on television. For those who can't make it with a computer, they can be watched on the computer over and over again. For those with a radio, they can be listened to on the radio. They can even be watched on your cell phone. In an era when a senatorial campaign in our midst may cost the candidates in fundraising as much as $25 million, debates are more important than ever because they ensure what is essential to a successful and thriving democracy, and that is that the voters be able to make an informed choice about the candidates' records, their positions on the issues, and which one has the potential to be more effective in Washington. Debates ensure that congressional and senatorial elections will be decided by informed choices, not slick advertisements and packaged direct mail. So I am proposing for this campaign a continuing series of debates, starting on the Lower Cape next month. Later this week, Congressman Keating will be receiving a letter from me outlining my proposal, and I hope and I trust that he will agree, because he knows it is the best way for elections such as this one to be decided. So I'm saying to you now exactly what I said when I was sworn into office as district attorney on January 4th, 2007. Let's roll up our sleeves and get started with this campaign. Thank you.